Welcome. The purpose of this is to what I'll be doing is I called it wet. Actually, I renamed it pussy, but specifically to this idea of showing and teaching, it's more appropriate for to use the title wet, and it is a adaptation, or I adapted it from Ensler's Vagina Monologues. So how can it be an adaptation when it sounds similar to the correct wording, if not the same? The title is wet. It's not Vagina Monologues. So that's where the adaptability in that newness comes from. So I've never done wet before, so this is going to be the first. But the purpose is to show or teach what we Katherine Moennig with Security of Law is not. And so that's the purpose, to show what we, the Katherine Moennig with Security and Law, is not, and to bring about the desired behavioral truth that is of Katherine Moennig. All right, so we're gonna see how it goes. You know, I haven't rehearsed it or anything. I did the pussy. I did pussy, but you know, wet is different than pussy, so it's a little different. So, oh, I know what I was gonna say. So how is this gonna happen? I'll be using, if any of you viewers or public or have seen anything or heard any of me talk about sexuality and homosexuality, then you would know that my past has been that of like the homosexual guy per se. So another purpose, or the idea is to you know, like when I left that behind, I kind of left that behind and became aware of who I am with regards to not just sexuality, but you know, there's a security and law reference, is, you know, connection also when it comes to sexuality. So that brought about that heterosexuality and the truthness when it comes to my opposite being women or a woman, as opposed to, you know, the same type, you know, as opposed to a homo type style situation. So you know, it's being acknowledged that it can be sometimes difficult when excuse me, a person has been, you know, a part of, you know, what a community they thought was a community, or something they thought was a community and without really knowing who they are within it, and the possibility that who you are may be totally different than that, I acknowledge how that could be a situation. You know, it's kind of like if you go to this place or you go to this person's house, you may not do this certain thing there. You know, and here it just may not be relevant as at all. So it's kind of like that with who we are as people and individuals when it comes to our name or our identity. There are some things that you just don't, there's some you just kind of want to hold who you are with you. So with me being the person that I guess. So basically, it's been presented that, something was, attempted to be done here or to do here that doesn't belong, essentially. So what I'm presenting is kind of like that match of what doesn't belong. That past that I had, that homosexual past, having that attraction, that whatever, that that falsity, being in that fallacy that what is homo can like connect someplace that it can't connect. And so I found that it's possible that that behavior or that experience that I had or could be the same experience with regard to KATHERINE MoeNNIG, that essentially that homo style doesn't belong there. So it's kind of like who I am. Everything has its place, and every people are put here for certain reasons, and part of being who we are to other people is being who we are, and that also helps them be better at who they are. So essentially it's hopefully this will just have the KATHERINE MoeNNIG come within who she is, who KATHERINE MoeNNIG is, and that wouldn't be that homo, but coming within that hetero. So to help with that, I'm gonna go back to the past, to my homo, because ironically my homo experience is the total opposite of the homo experience that is being presented by KATHERINE MoeNNIG. So I guess the idea is that going back to that, you can kind of see, or it's going to show, if those two homo experiences could I guess the question is, can those two homo experiences connect and make two heteros? So it's called wet. So again, I was kind of reluctant to do this. Let me just say that up front, because just because I get how it could help, I get that, but it's kind of like if you're in a relationship and you're faithful, you want to be faithful, like within who you have to be faithful with, and who you are that it's not faithful, then that's how you want to not be faithful. So that's where the reluctance is coming from. But anyhow, I guess it's coming from a perspective that, hey, if you're borns, then what about this aspect? Why just yours? What about this one? So I guess it need to be addressed But I just prefer that to go. I prefer to go with not allowing any idea of any type of opportunity being available for anything. So from that perspective, it's still straight up no. But from the perspective that of prevention, then here we have wet. So this is KOTHBIRO. So of course, still relevant to the we that we are not. Not only this wet, but the use of KOTHBIRO. Alright. And the hair cocked over to the side as well. Alright. Alright, so let's see. So this is the web version. It's a web version. I'm just going to ask you a few questions and just answer whatever you're comfortable with. Don't go any further than you feel like going. And if you want to add something later on to a question I've asked you, that's fine too. When was the first time you saw it? It was sort of like an accidental thing. There was like a mirror on the floor. And I walked up and I was like, what was that? I have to go home and do some research. I didn't look at myself till probably in college. I don't even say the word to my OBGYN. And I went to the library. I'm sneaking in the library, looking through the books, and I'm covering the book with like something else, and then it's like, admire it. It's a beautiful flower. It's like roses. I'm like, we're not looking at the same thing. I took photos of it. I had a Polaroid camera, and I would go into the bathroom and take a picture. Are you embarrassed? Yes. All those things are kind of like secret, and it's not for, It's like your own little joy. I realized there was no context in which women ever talk about their vaginas. So I just started casually saying to friends of mine, what do you think about your vagina? What do you think? And over the course of about 3 to 5 years, I interviewed over 200 women. How does it feel to be talking about it? Very strange. I think it's liberating, but it's kind of funny too. Anxious, kind of nervous, not really sure what I'm gonna say. I really thought I was gonna be like uncomfortable, but it's not. You make it kind of easy, and everything every woman said was more surprising, outrageous, disturbing, exciting than the next. And one woman would say to me, oh, you really need to talk to so-and-so about her vagina. She has an amazing story. And she would say, no, you need to talk to so and so about her vagina. She has, and before I knew it, I was really down this vagina trail, and I couldn't get back. And I've been on the trail for a long time, and I don't think I'm gonna get off it anytime soon. Everything on the wall, all of these were gifts or photographs or things that have found me or have been given to me as I travel around the world. Well, first, I like to introduce Vagina Barbie. Complete with duck lips, a lovely vagina candle. This salad here, that's a vagina salad. Vulva puppet. Vulva puppet. They actually talk. There's a whole world of vagina life out there, which I find thrilling. Thrilling. So when the show was first downtown, guys would call up and say, can I have tickets to the Vagina Dialogues? And women will call up and say, can I have tickets to the Monologues? I've heard people call it the Viagra Chronicles. And there was this punk ticket taker. And she would say, listen, if you can't say the name, you can't come. Now try again. Try again. Thank you. I bet you're worried. I was worried. That's why I began this piece. I was worried about vaginas. I was worried what we think about vaginas. And I was even more worried that we don't think about them. I was worried about my own vagina. It needed a context, a community, a culture of other vaginas. There is so much darkness and secrecy surrounding them. Like the Bermuda Triangle. Nobody ever reports back from there. In the first place, it's not so easy to even find your vagina. I mean, women go days, weeks, months without looking at it. I interviewed a high-powered businesswoman. She told me she didn't have time. Looking at your vagina, she said, is a full day's work. You got to get down there on your back, in front of the mirror, full length preferred. You got to get in the perfect position with the perfect light, which then becomes shadowed by the angle you're at. You're twisting your head up, arching your back. It's exhausting. She was busy. She didn't have time. So I decided to talk to women about their vaginas. They began as casual vagina interviews, and they turned into vagina monologues. I talked with over 200 women. Can you believe that? I talked to younger women, older women, married women, lesbians, single women. I talk to college professors, corporate professionals, actors, sex workers. I talk to African American women, Asian American women, Hispanic women, Native American women, Caucasian women, Jewish women. At first, women were a little shy, a little reluctant to talk. But once they got going, you couldn't stop them. Women love to talk about their vaginas. They do. They really do. Mainly because no one's ever asked them before. Let's just start with the word. Vagina. Vagina. It sounds like an infection at best. Maybe a medical instrument. Hurry, nurse. Bring me the vagina. 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 It doesn't matter how many times you say the word, it never sounds like a word you want to say. It's a completely ridiculous, totally unsexy word. If you use it during sex, trying to be politically correct, you kill the act right there. I'm worried what we call it and don't call it. In Great Neck, New York, they call it pussycat. A woman told me there, her mother used to tell her, don't wear panties, dear, underneath your pajamas. You need to air out your pussycat. In Westchester, they call it a pookie. In New Jersey, a twat. There's powder box, a poochie, a poopy, a pee-pee, a pupaloo, a punanani, and a peach. There's toady, dee-dee, nietzsche, dignity. Coochie snorcher, cooter, lab, Gladys Sigelman, bah, wee-wee, horror spot, naggy dupout, nappy, dugout, mongo, monkey box, pajama, fanny boo, marshmallow gooey, possible, tamale, totita, connie, a mimi in Miami, a split niche in Philadelphia, and a schmindy in the Bronx. I am worried about vaginas. Steve. Vagina graduate. This is Steve. This is Steve. Steve just graduated from UVS. That's the University of Vaginal Sciences. The most vagina-friendly guy in his class. Okay. Got the job. Yeah. This first monologue is based on one woman's story. Pretty much the way I heard it, although the subject of this interview came up in every interview and was often fraught. The subject being hair. I love hair. I mean, hair, vagina. Hair is a vagina, the vagina is hair. I like my hair. I like a lot more hair, actually. I'm a redhead. And everything's red. I mean, it's just red, 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 red. I've never shaved the bikini line. I wear appropriate bathing suits so that it covers, but I don't, I don't feel that I have to work on it cosmetically, because I've been afflicted with hair from the time I was 8 years old on my vagina. I'm very curious what it would feel like to be hairless. I don't mean a haircut. I mean, it's not anything like crazy. I mean, I do it myself, so how crazy can it be? It's just like a normal, nice, neat, thing. Thought everybody did that. No? You cannot love a vagina unless you love hair. Many people do not love hair. My first and only hated hair. He said it was cluttered and dirty. He made me shave my vagina. It looked puffy and exposed like a little girl. This excited him. When he made love to my vagina, it felt the way a beard must feel. It felt good to scratch it, and painful like scratching a mosquito bite. There were screaming red bumps. It felt like it was on fire. I refused to shave it again. Then, the affair. Therapy. He said he screwed around because I wouldn't please him sexually. I wouldn't shave my vagina. The therapist had a thick German accent, and she gasped between sentences to show her empathy. She asked me why I didn't want to please. Why I didn't want to shave my vagina. I told her I thought it was weird. I felt like when my hair was gone down there and I couldn't help talking in a baby voice. And even calamine lotion wouldn't stop the irritation. So she told me that marriage was a compromise. I asked her if my shaving my vagina would stop screwing around. I asked her if she had a man. I'm sorry. I asked her if there were many cases like this before. She told me that questions diluted the process. She was sure it was a good beginning. I just needed to jump in. This time we got home, he got to shave my vagina. It was like therapy bonus prize. He clipped it a few times, and there was a little blood in the bathtub. He didn't notice. He was so excited shaving me. Then later, when he was pressing against me, I could feel his spiky sharpness sticking into my naked, exposed vagina. There was no protection. There was no fluff. I realized that the hair is there for a reason. It's the leaf around the flower, the lawn around the house. You have to love hair in order to love the vagina. You can't pick the parts you want, and besides, well, he never did stop screwing around. You know, I interviewed a whole group of women between 65 and 75, and that was definitely the most important group, mainly because I don't think many women in that group had ever had a vagina interview before. This particular woman was 72 years old, and she had never seen her vagina. She'd washed in the shower and bath, but never with conscious intention or awareness, and she'd never had an orgasm. When she was 72, she went to therapy for the first time, as we do in New York, and she worked with a wonderful therapist who got her to go home by herself. She told me she lit some candles, she played some music, she took a bath, she got down with herself, and she told me it took her over an hour because she was arthritic. But when she finally found her clitoris, she said she cried. This is for her. Down there, I haven't been down there since 1953. No. No. It had nothing to do with Eisenhower. No. No, trust me, you don't want to go down there. It's very damp, very clammy. Smell the mildew. Gets in your clothes. It's horrible. No. No. And there was no accident down there. It didn't blow up or catch on fire. It wasn't so dramatic. What a nice girl like you going around talking to old ladies about their down there for. We didn't do this kind of thing when I was your age. Well, there was this boy. Oh, God. Andy. Andy Lefkoff. Oh, God. He was so good looking and tall. Like me. He asked me out for a date. I'll never forget. In his new white Chevy Bel Air. Oh my God. I can't do this. I'm sorry. I can't talk to you about down there. You just know it's there, like this cellar. You can hear the pipes. Things get caught there from time to time. Little animals and things. It gets wet. People come. They plug up the leaks. Otherwise, the door stays closed. You forget about it. Andy? Oh, God. He was a catch. That's what we called it in my day. We're in his car, and all I'm thinking about are my kneecaps. I have very long legs, and my kneecaps were smushed up against the dashboard. And Andy just grabs me and kisses me in this take you by control like they do in the movies kind of way. Well, I got excited. I got very excited. And there was a flood down there. This river of life, this force of passion just flooded out of me. Right through my panties. Right onto the car seat of his new white Chevy Bel Air. Well, it wasn't pee, and it wasn't smelly. Well, Andy said, it smelled like sour milk and it was staining his car seat. I was a stinking weird girl, he said. I tried to explain that his kiss had caught me off guard. I wasn't normally like this. I tried to wipe up the flood.